Okay, crazy idea. I'm gonna run this past you. Hopefully, you've seen the other videos of my BB-8 design, and I have these. I've already written on this a bunch of times because I somehow recorded it and it didn't record the video right, so I have to reuse this. So anyway, imagine we're looking at the BB-8 from the front here. There's the carriage, the sides here, the tripod kind of stable or arms on here that hold the axle. Right, there's an axle here, and there's this carriage in the middle. And the idea was to have these kind of rolling weights in here that kind of shift weight left and right. They're kind of half cylinders. They're weighted at the bottom, open at the top, or maybe even cut off at the top, and they can shift their weight left and right. And hopefully that allows the BB-8 to kind of roll left and right. Now it's not ideal because the weight is fairly high up. It's close towards the center. To really effectively use the mass, it'd be nice if the weight could be much lower down. But we're trying to save some room for like spinning things at the bottom there and stuff like that. And also, the big thing is to not have it, tilt into the side areas here, because here we want to have like, oh, it's the crazy thumbs up, panel, whatever kind of thing over here, or the grabber claw shoot out there. And in order to do that, we have to minimize, the amount of stuff that shifts into the side, so it's kind of create that off limits. Okay, so the question is, how do you shift the weight from low to high, ideally out here, without it actually encroaching on these areas here? Okay, so I have a crazy idea. Some double pendulum action. What does that mean? All right. Imagine having a pendulum on a pendulum. So here's our BB-8 again, or our carriage again. Here's the walls of the carriage. The axle goes up here. Okay, so this point here, this point right up here, is the center of BB-8. Okay, so normally the ball, that roller would be up here, and the weight would be down here, and it would just roll up in that direction. So now instead, imagine I have it hanging down, and say the radius of the ball, or the radius of the cylinder would be 1. So 1 and 1. The other cylinder would have been, actually way up here, right? That's where the original cylinder would be. But now we're hanging it below there. So we're hanging it from the end of the cylinder. So 1, 1. The center of mass of the cylinder is actually out here past 2, hanging way down towards the bottom of the droid. Hopefully still giving us just a little bit of room for our spinning cylinders or something there to spin on a dime. All right, so we want to somehow move this mass up here, somewhere this way, without it swinging into here. Okay, so the idea is we use a double pendulum. So the pivot here, it pivots here and here. Okay, so this pivots up. There's a little bit of room in here, so the ball, or the cylinder, doesn't touch. If you push it to one direction, it's going to engage. It's like hopefully a rubber coating, a Ninja Flex, track, teeth, I don't know, something like that. We can get to that point. So it bumps the side. This continues to roll, which forces this to roll in that direction, opposite this, right? Just rolls up. As that rolls up, the weight shifts in the opposite direction. Here's that center. It moves up from here to here, right? The arm moves up to here, and it continues to roll up. So you'll notice here, where the bottom of that weight was, it's moved up by that much. And it continues all the way up until eventually that arm is pointing right here. The arm has moved all this way. The mass has moved opposite it, and it's gone basically from way down here all the way up to here, right? So we've went from 2 and a bit up to just halfway, or whatever the bit is. So we've really shifted this mass from being way down here to way up here, and kept it, hopefully all the time, within the walls of the carriage. Yeah, this is definitely more complicated than the simple one. I'm building this first, for sure. And then who knows, maybe if that works great, I'll never do this. If that doesn't work great, I will investigate things like this, so that we can have that notion of, keeping it within the walls, so we have our stuff able to go on the sides, and keeping that same, the drive mechanism fairly compact compared to some other things. And we could play around with cams and gears and stuff like that to see, okay, how much travel is there and whatnot. Still not ideal because the weight obviously didn't go from here to here, but it did, shift a lot more. It didn't just roll up here a tiny bit. It definitely, it out here versus the other weight down here is going to be doing more, I think, than than having that weight just up here because of the lever arm distances and so on. I don't know. Put that in the back of our heads and save that for later. Much more complicated. But this is the kind of crazy crap that I'm kind of thinking about in the meantime. All right, that's been 5 minutes. thanks for sparing 5 minutes of your time. Take it easy. Till next time, this is Eric, working on some crazy BB-8 design.